Hello, good afternoon. I'm Corey Whitford. You're tuned in to Mogston Trail News Live for our afternoon program, Health and Wellness. Today is January the 15th, 2021. It's now 3 p.m. Central Standard Time. Our broadcast is being recorded and can be seen at a later time on YouTube or Facebook platforms. Let's go right into it. I want to take you to the Facebook platform, CBC. CBC Facebook page recently updated their stories, their content, and it reads from 2 hours ago. There are 191 COVID-19 cases in Manitoba on Friday, and five more people have died from the illness, the province says in a news release. That from 2 hours ago. I want to take you to four different stories here this afternoon, starting first with Pfizer to temporarily reduce vaccine deliveries to Canada, minister says. The pharmaceutical giant is pausing some production lines at its facility in Perrs, Belgium. This report, filed by John Paul Tasker of CBC News, posted January 15, 2021 at 10 a.m., last updated 1 hour ago. And it reads as follows. Public Services and Procurement Minister Anita Anand said today that global pharmaceutical giant Pfizer will temporarily reduce shipments of its vaccine to Canada, further complicating the slow rollout of doses. Anand said she was told last night that Pfizer will send fewer doses than expected because it is pausing some production lines at its facilities in Perrs, Belgium, in order to expand long-term manufacturing capability. This expansion work means that Pfizer is temporarily reducing deliveries to all countries receiving vaccines manufactured at its European facility, and that includes Canada, Anand told reporters at a public health briefing. Pfizer says that by the end of March, it will be able to catch up, such that we will be on track for the total committed doses for Q1, she added, referring to the first quarter of the calendar year. Anand stressed that this is a temporary reduction and not a stoppage, as some doses will still be shipped to Canada when some of Pfizer's manufacturing lines are idle. It's going to be temporary. It's not a loss, and we will make up those doses, she said, adding deliveries will be disrupted for 2 to 3 weeks. Major General Danny Fortin, the military commander leading vaccine logistics, said Canada's allotment will be reduced by 50% for 4 weeks. He said the shipment next week of roughly 208,000 doses will proceed as planned, but shipments over the subsequent 4 weeks will be substantially smaller, and as a result of this manufacturing hiccup, Fortin said Canada will experience the most profound impact during the week of January 25, when Pfizer will ship just a quarter of what had been promised originally. All told, the delivery of roughly 400,000 doses has been punted to a later date. Fortin stressed that Pfizer's shipments will scale up after that point and return to what we expected for end February and onwards. The general has stated previously that Canada was expecting the delivery of 1.4 million Pfizer doses that month. As numbers increase, Pfizer indicated that they intend to offset the impact of their production dip, he said. It will hurt in the short term, but the manufacturer is committed to the doses it has promised us. A spokesperson for Pfizer Canada said the delay will allow the company to significantly scale up its manufacturing operations and pump out up to 2 billion vaccine doses this year, up from the previous target of 1.3 billion. The company said there will be fluctuations in orders and shipping schedules as it works to increase production volumes. As part of the normal productivity improvements to increase capacity, we must make modifications to the process and facility. Although this will temporarily impact shipments in late January and February, it will provide a significant increase in doses available for patients in late February and March, the spokesperson said. Other countries supplied by Pfizer's European facility provided some rough estimates Friday of how deliveries will be affected as Pfizer retools. The Norwegian Institute of Public Health said it expects deliveries to be reduced by as much as 20% over the coming weeks. Lithuania said it was told its supplies would be halved until mid-February. The manufacturer told us the cuts are EU-wide. Lithuanian Health Minister spokesperson Vytautas Beniusis told Reuters. Anand said the federal government still expects to receive roughly 4 million doses of the Pfizer product in the first 3 months of this year. Moderna is expected to deliver another 2 million doses of its vaccine. Pfizer also has a plant in Kalamazoo, Michigan, but all of Canada's doses are being shipped from the company's European operation. While both our US and European sites are approved by Health Canada to supply the Canadian market, the supply to Canada has been allocated from our PERS site in Belgium. For the time being, that has not changed, the Pfizer spokesperson said. Bumps along the way. Prime Minister Justin Trudeau sought to assure Canadians today that the temporary delays won't derail the government's long-term goal of getting everyone who wants a shot vaccinated by the end of September. He also said he doesn't expect the manufacturing pause to change our second quarter goals. Canada must still get ready for the ramp-up phase in Q2. Fortin has said the country is expecting delivery of about 1 million vaccine shots each week starting in April. In the spring, Canada will shift from phase 1 of the vaccine rollout, immunizing particularly vulnerable people such as long-term care home residents, some Indigenous adults, and healthcare providers, to widen distribution among the general population. Trudeau said the government always anticipated some bumps along the way, given the unprecedented global demand for vaccines. This kind of issue is out of our hands, and that's why we pursued an aggressive procurement strategy in the first place, Trudeau said, adding Canada is not entirely dependent on Pfizer for shots. Other promising vaccine candidates, such as those from AstraZeneca and Johnson & Johnson's pharmaceutical division Janssen, are currently being reviewed by regulators at Health Canada. Northern Manitoba continues to be hit hard by COVID-19, with nearly half of 191 new cases. Test positivity rate hovers at 10% as province seeks input on loosening some restrictions next week. Posted by the CBC News, January the 15th, 2021 at 10:01 a.m. and last updated 1 hour ago, Central Standard Time. A jump in new COVID-19 cases continued on Friday in northern Manitoba, which reported 84 of the province's 191 cases. There are also 5 more deaths linked to the illness, Manitoba Chief Public Health Officer Dr. Brent Rosen said. Manitoba Chief Provincial Public Health Officer Dr. Brent Rosen said. The update comes a week before province-wide restrictions that ban most gatherings and the sale of non-essential goods expire. The government is now considering reducing some of those restrictions and is asking for input from the public in an online survey. Manitoba's 5-day COVID 19 test positivity rate remains at 10%. In Winnipeg, the rate increased slightly to 7.2% from 7.1% on Thursday, a news release says. The remaining new cases are in the Winnipeg Health Region with 71, Southern Health Region with 14, the Prairie Mountain Health Region with 13, and the Interlake Eastern Health Region with 9, the release says. The deaths announced Friday are 4 men and 1 woman, ranging in age from their 70s to their hundreds, the release says. The people who died, bringing Manitoba's total deaths to 760, are 2 men in their 70s from the Winnipeg and Northern Health regions, and 2 in their 80s in the Winnipeg and Southern Health regions, and a woman in her hundreds linked to the outbreak at Winnipeg's Charleswood Care Centre, the release says. The number of COVID 19 hospitalizations in Manitoba dropped to 284 people on Friday, with 35 of them in intensive care, the release says. A COVID 19 outbreak has been declared at the Dauphin Regional Health Center, while another outbreak previously declared at Winnipeg's Metropolitan Kiwanis Courts is now over, the release says. The new cases bring Manitoba's tally to 27,145 infections identified, with 23,478 deemed recovered, the release says. Another 2,907 are still considered active cases, though health officials have said that number is inflated because of a data entry backlog. There were 2,025 more COVID 19 tests done in Manitoba on Thursday, which brings the province's total to 448,061. Again, from the CBC website as our source. Lockdown saving lives, top doc says, as Manitobans asked to weigh in on cautious lift of restrictions. Current public health orders set to expire on January 22 after months-long partial lockdown. This segment filed by Aidan Geary of the CBC News posted January 15, 2021 at 1:24 p.m. Central Standard Time. Manitoba's partial lockdown is saving lives, provincial officials say, as they prepare the public for a cautious and slow reopening to come. Broad public health restrictions brought in over the past 2 months likely saved an estimated 1,700 lives since November 12, when the province first moved to red level rules, Dr. Brent Rosen, Manitoba's Chief Public Health Officer, said at a news conference Friday. We've lost many Manitobans, and our hearts go out to those families. But we can see from our restrictions, we've saved many more, Rosen said. This virus does not discriminate, and certainly our lives cannot return to normal at this point. Rosen's estimate is based on the trajectory the province was on in early November, he said. In recent weeks, the province has seen test positivity rates decline, daily case counts improve, and the numbers of COVID 19 patients hospitalized gradually decreasing. But Rosen said any loosening of restrictions will be very cautious and slow. Manitoba's current public health orders are set to expire on January 22. On Friday, the province launched an online survey about the next stage of COVID 19 restrictions, Premier Brian Pallister announced at the news conference. The survey will ask the public questions about their perspective on the risk of the virus, COVID-19 vaccines and how comfortable they are with various activities. The survey will also ask about the public's priorities for reopening, including possible increases to indoor and outdoor gathering sizes and possible changes to expand in-person shopping and reopening various businesses. Pallister said the province expects to float some recommendations for possible changes to the public health orders early next week. Changes announced to the rules will ultimately be guided by public health experts, he said. However, Pallister said a public survey is a good tool to let Manitobans voice their thoughts and build public buy-in. If they impact on people, then people should have a chance to see what they are so they can make sure that they're abiding by those changes if there are changes recommended by Dr. Rusin, Pallister said. This fourth segment and the final segment in our health and wellness program is as follows, taken from CBC once more. Thompson's airport-based vaccination super site hits turbulence, downtown site added. Vaxport is 10 kilometers from northern Manitoba City. Not exactly convenient, Thompson mayor says. This segment filed with the CBC News and posted January 15, 2021 at 2:16 Central Standard Time and last updated 29 minutes ago. The proposed COVID-19 vaccination supersite in Thompson has encountered a bit of turbulence and a slight change in plans. Mayor Colleen Smook said the supersite, dubbed Vaxport by Premier Brian Pallister because it's located in a hangar near the northern Manitoba's city's airport, is somewhat troubling, and she noted the municipality wasn't initially consulted. My first concern was the site wasn't going to be adequate or big enough, so I expressed my concerns to the government and our health authority and anybody that would listen, she said. Although the city has a population of 13,000, it also serves as a center for surrounding northern communities, a population closer to 50,000, Smook said. The Manitoba government announced last month it would open 3 so-called super sites in the province, located in Winnipeg, Brandon, and Thompson. Winnipeg's opened January 6 at the Convention Center. Brandon's is set to open on Monday, and Thompson's in early February. The other drawback to Vaxport is that the airport is about 10 kilometers from the city, not exactly convenient for many people, especially with no buses running out there along the gravel road, Smook said. It wasn't suitable for local people or even our outlying communities and partners that would want to travel into Thompson. And then you're still another 5 miles out to the airport. Smook said, adding there are a lot of people and social assistants who simply have no way to get there. Some senior government officials were in the city on Thursday and toured Vaxport with Smook, who announced Friday that a second site is being set up at the more central Thompson Regional Community Center, where flu vaccines were administered in the fall. The COVID-19 vaccine will be flown into the city and stored at Vaxport, with whatever doses deemed necessary transported to the downtown site, Smook said. We still will have a large population that is flying in to the city, and definitely the airport site is very convenient that way, she said. It is also ideal for people coming from communities that are in strict lockdown and keeping to themselves, Smook said. They don't have to come into the city center and mingle. they can keep to their community lockdown standards, she said. We have to think of all our neighbors and what's best for the North. Well, there you have it. That's been our program for this afternoon, January the 15th, 2021. Want to thank you for tuning in and for your continued support. Stay tuned for 6 p.m. Our next program is Anishinaabe with Corey the Coyote Whitford. That's me. And we'll be covering Book 9 and Book 10 this evening, as well as introducing a new puppet and and participating in a Scrabble activity. We will be spelling up to 4 words this evening, beginning with Buju, using Scrabble squares. Want to thank you once more for tuning in. Pajigitchimi wech mga unjibita ko snake kumanong gubka. Chibiga no bandam way kegi no we kaijichigang umay from the official news portal of the Treaty 2 territory. Pajigitchimi wech. Thank you and stay safe out there. Ewe niwo. Mga hamsa. Kichimi wech. Ni joga niduk. Dine mga niduk. Mino go up migo. Ahu.